What you're about to see here is my in-depth interview with rock legend, rock icon, one of my favorite singers of all time, Graham Bonnet from Rainbow, Alcatrazz, Michael Schenker Group, Impellitteri, Michael Schenker Fest, and now the Graham Bonnet Band. Obviously, he's done some solo stuff. We talk about one of my favorite albums, Lineup, which he did before joining Michael Schenker and before he formed Alcatrazz with Yngwie Malmsteen. And I hope you enjoy this. I hope I asked some fan service questions, maybe some that you haven't seen in interviews he's done in the past. I really try to pride myself in putting the work into my prep and asking different questions. But this is more of a long-form conversation than it is an interview because nobody wants to hear me talk like right now. So sit back. It's about an hour and a half. Relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and enjoy my interview with rock legend Graham Bonnet next on Heels and Quads.
On a debate, bring your own cup. Hard rockin' kings with a full plate. Heels and quads, you can't run late.
Upcoming show, Marco Mendoza, obviously bass player extraordinaire. Saturday, March 29th, at the Mint in Los Angeles. You can get tickets now, themintla.com. And that's a rescheduled show from January 11th, which was supposed to be your birthday show. Happy late birthday, by the way.
Yeah, it was like a belated birthday thing because my birthday was in December. We thought, well, we'll have a belated birthday show. And it didn't happen because of, what was it? I think it was a fire.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
It felt very warm here. Yeah, it was that terrible fire. It was like unbelievable. So that put a halt to like everything.
Yeah.
That
But luckily, I mean, obviously, thoughts and whatever to the people that were immediately affected, but obviously you're doing okay, which is great.
Yeah, it's sort of, the fire was, we saw it. It's probably about 2 miles away from where we are in Studio City.
Wow.
But it was fucking close. And
Yeah.
like get ready to evacuate thing. So packed up stuff, and luckily we didn't have to go anywhere. Suddenly the wind changed and moved away, kind of.
Right.
So we're very, very lucky. I've been through a lot of fires in the past, years ago, and I used to live in a place called Calabasas, and we would have a fire just about every week. It was so bad, and we had to evacuate once. I remember back then. But we were lucky this time, But I have never seen anything like what's been left of this city. It's like, what the fuck? Everything is gone. All that way down to the beach, Malibu and all that. It's like it's a different landscape now, and
It's insane.
This thing to see that with places you knew you've driven past or whatever, gone.
Right. And you don't realize how much of a staple something is until it's gone.
Until it's gone, yeah. You don't know what you've got until it's gone, yeah, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but the familiar isn't there anymore.
Right.
A lot of people, not necessarily for me, but I mean, the other people who had that horrible thing happen to them, because so many people lost big houses, and small houses and this, that, and the other. It was just devastating to human life.
Well, that's got to be one of the cons of living in California in general is like, yeah, it's great, but you also have to have like 20,000 different forms of insurance on your home.
Yeah, shit, yeah. Because as soon as the fires were sort of over, so to speak, then the rain comes, then the landslides start. So if you're living at the beach, your house is, if there's anything left of your house, it's going to go slipping down the hill and into the fucking water, But I don't know why people live here, to be honest with you. Earthquakes, and this fire is the most devastating thing I've ever seen. It looks exactly like a bomb had dropped, Really, I mean, you must have seen it on TV anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's incredible. And in fact, right now, we're doing an album, and we're starting another album, our fourth, I believe it is, the Graham Bonnet. And I'm trying to, me and Conrad, our guitar player, Conrad Passanato, we've been putting some songs together for the next album. And right now, I'm thinking about using the subject of the fire for this song, which is a ballad. And I'm saying, I wonder if this is the right kind of thing to talk about something that was so devastating.
You could always have like a double meaning to it.
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I know. Yes, I know. But because it's not like it's not a screamer or anything. It's a freaking ballad. But I'm talking about something. Well, I'm not sure if I should go that way to talk about the disaster that happened. But
yeah, is it time?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's nice to have sweet music, but telling a scary story, if you will.
Yeah,
I'll see. I might change it altogether. So,
I kind of like the idea, honestly, but I mean, then again, I wasn't affected, so I don't know how that would.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky enough to be affected, personally, out the front door. We were, but still, the air was full of crap, and still is. I'm asthmatic, and so to be outside, we had to wear masks at some point, but not all the time. But it's, when that happened, the sky was black. It was not where the fire was actually happening. The smoke, people were reporting on TV, and it was completely dark, like it was fucking midnight.
Yeah,
that's how thick the smoke was. But anyway, that's the fire, and I'm trying to think of how to tell the story without being too corny, too sentimental or whatever, but to tell a story in a ballad. But I don't know. As I said, I might change it completely, make it into something about Mickey Mouse or something. I mean, whatever. I tell you, sometimes it's hard to find a subject to write about because I think I've made up songs about just about everything. And but it's usually take from real life, my own experiences and my friends' experiences, whatever, and then write about that. Instead of talking about fantasy things like you're supposed to do, dragons, dungeons, and whips and all that kind of nudity going on.
What people might expect of you, but over your career, I mean, you've done everything as far as styles go. It's not just, a lot of people say, oh, Graham Bonnet, Rainbow, Michael Schenker, Alcatrazz, all that stuff. But it's like, I have notes and set up, and I don't want to get too far into it, but even doing older Motown songs on your solo records, the first two records you did before Rainbow, and then Lineup, which I think is a criminally underrated record, by the way.
I love myself.
I fell in love with that record prepping for this, and I actually ordered a vinyl copy. I collect vinyl, but I ordered a vinyl copy, a Japanese press with the OB strip and everything.
All right, okay,
And I just love that record.
Oh, thank you. Me too. We had a great time making that particular record, and I had one hit single from an album. But to go into work when we made that album was such a great thing. Every freaking day. We're in there like weeks. And I'll tell you the John Lord story. I think I've told a lot of people about this. But John Lord was a keyboard player who I miss very much because apart from being one of the best keyboard players ever, he was a friend of mine and, the guys in Rainbow, whatever. And one day when we're recording that album, the Lineup album, and it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and John came in with 2 plastic shopping bags, and what's that? What's he got? And it's rattle. It's rattlings, glass. I can hear glass on glass. And so behind the baffles, where you put, somebody, where the drummer goes or whatever, we're all sitting behind. I had an acoustic. I remember sitting behind the baffle board, and he opens these bags, and on his, partition, he starts lining up these bottles, and he says, "Gentlemen, the bar is open."
I love it.
Thing of the day, what? So, but it was fantastic. I mean, John was such a funny person, and that was like, who didn't drink at that time in the morning? Right. So, John, we miss you, and what a great player.
Absolutely, the sound on that is just so full.
Yeah. And Don played on that as well. Don Eric. Yeah. There's like everybody on there who are really close friends, I haven't seen for a while. And some are sadly missed, along with Cozy Powell, you know.
Yeah, the amazing Cozy Powell, legendary.
Absolutely. There's nobody like him. Sense of humor, just who he was endearing, you know. You couldn't help but like him or really fucking hate him. You know?
It's a double-edged sword.
You know, but I think some of the women he was dating back then, I remember, they didn't like him very much, this attitude. He was like, oh, no, you'll, nah. He was, they were very disposable to him back then, you know, because it was then. And it was all the time when all the women would hang out and Cozy was always first in there, you know.
The state of the business then.
Yeah, I mean, but that's gone now. That was crap. I was like 33 years old. You know, I'm now 129 years old.
Come on. But you sound great. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, the main thing is I still have a speaking voice. I still have a singing voice, which I'm very lucky to have. And I said to Bethany the other day, I said, I hope I'm not jinxing myself by saying I still sing the way I used to, but nothing's changed. I can still sing in those same areas, same range, blah, 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 and have hopefully the same emotion that I put into songs years ago that I was very excited to record. Now when we go on tour, it's like, oh, do I really have to sing that again? We're thinking of changing some of the songs in our show, but there are certain songs I have to do. Well, one from lineup, that's Night Games. We have to do that. We have to do Since You've Been Gone. We have to do All Night Long, you know, and Lost in Hollywood, which I love. I keep those anyway. But, you know, it's hard to really think about, well, what can we do that people will actually know? Because it depends which country you're in as well. You know, if I'm in England, I can do more of my old stuff when I was a kid, you know, when I was 19.
And not even that. It depends on the venue. It depends on the crowd. What age range are we in here? You know, are we back in those marble days of the 60s where people are coming to see stuff like that? You know?
Because I mean, the marbles is something that people are like 900 years old now. You know, that the older generation, so to speak. And if we play, there's a song called Only One Woman. When we play that, we have played it, and in the past, people in this country, in America, they come up to us and say, what is that song? That one is in like 3/4 time, that really soulful song. And I said, well, I had to explain that Barry Gibb wrote it. He wrote the words and blah, blah, blah. My cousin and I recorded that in 1968. It was never released here. But it's such a soulful song. I love the damn thing, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. That whole time period, that Marbles record it's got such a different sound to it. Yeah. If you're going back from, you know, the rest of your catalog, the rest of your career, but it's got I was listening to it actually right before we started, parts of it, while I still had a little time before you jumped on. And people always say you're a loud singer. Yeah. And I get that. But that Marbles album is your voice then is pretty much the same as now, only I got like a tone of Tom Jones a bit. And I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but that's what I got.
I remember when I was younger, when I was about, I don't know, 15 or something, I was in a band, we had a band, and my drummer at that time, Steve Hardy, said to me, you know, when you get older, you're going to be like Tom Jones. You'll have that same. For you to say that is I'm flattered, because he's one of the best freaking singers.
I love Tom Jones.
Oh, man.
I get shit all the time from my friends for liking Tom Jones' voice.
Music he made, his voice is wasted on Love Is Like Candy on the Shelf. All those songs are they're horrible. But I saw him do a blues show once on TV, and it was like a 4-piece band and him singing this kind of rock stuff and R&B, and it was fucking amazing. Yeah. You know, I remember him doing one. He said, "No, I want to do that again." You know, I can't do a Welsh accent very well. He says, but so he sang it again, and it was better. He said, "I reckon that's the one, do you?" You know, because it was for a DVD or something. Yeah. But it was, to see him, he is a real singer. I don't know if he was in a Welsh choir or something, but the Welsh people have these choirs that are so freaking loud. You know, your skin will peel off your face. You know what I mean? You know, they're very, very, very joyful and powerful. And to hear a Welsh choir is fantastic. And I'm not sure that Tom Jones wasn't probably a part of the choir when he was a younger man.
Yeah.
I don't know his history really.
It would make sense because, like I said before, you've got that loud voice like that. And it would make sense because in that group setting, he's still trying to find his voice. So he's trying to sing over.
Yeah. It's like a lot of the R&B singers come from choirs, especially the black R&B singers. They've been in a choir, head up and up, doing all that stuff.
Dancing in the aisles and everything.
Yeah, all that kind of, and dancing and whatever, because they use their voices properly. They didn't strain themselves, and Tom Jones uses his voice properly. He breathes from every area of his chest and mouth and face and whatever, because it doesn't just come from here. It comes from all different places, And I always say, after we've rehearsed, I say, God, my butt hurts, or my shoulders. You realize the muscles you use just to sing. And
everything.
You've been laid off a little bit, and a couple of months off. You have to do that again and get back into where you were before. But it's amazing what you have to, because it's your face, your throat, your belly, your chest, and you use all those things, and also the back of your legs. It's like, what the hell? It's incredible. And that's what Tom Jones did. He uses his whole body to produce what he produces.
And you can see it when you see him sing.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, well, it's like Pavarotti. If you ever see Pavarotti sing, it's like, wow, fucking hell. I mean, he's amazing.
Visibly shaking when he's singing because he's putting everything he has into it.
Yeah, because Don Airey from Rainbow and now Deep Purple, Deep Purple did a show with Pavarotti, and Don said to him, "What do you do to prepare before you go on stage?" He says, nothing. Because I was going to say, do you do exercise? I said, no. I said, I can't do that. I don't see what it does. It's just a waste of. Ronnie Dio said, I never warm up because it's a waste of notes.
Yep.
Leave that till when I walk on. And then if my voice goes weird at the end, that's okay.
Yeah, well, because you've put so much into it throughout the show that
exactly
it makes sense. And that was the thing that I wanted to start with, and then we kind of got off on a tangent, but that's fine. It's great.
All right.
I wanted to ask you about the state of music because we were kind of leading in that direction, and this is a subject that bothers me because playing with tracks. Obviously, your band does not do that. You're a live band. You can tell, like you said, towards the end, I've watched full video of stuff you've done over the last few years, and I'm like, his voice doesn't give out until you can tell he's wavering towards the end, but that's because he's put so much into it.
Yeah.
What do you think about bands using tracks? Is there certain instances where you think it's okay? Are you okay with it overall?
Yeah, I probably think it's okay if, say, somebody has lost their voice or something and they have a show that night and, there's tracks where they can lip sync to,
Yeah.
But I've never done that. I'm trying to think if I did. But it's like, how do you do a good show if you're croaking? And I understand why people do it. I've seen people do it. I've been at lots of shows all over the world. I remember watching a band once, and I couldn't believe how much fakery was going on under the stage. It was in Tokyo, and I can't remember where it was. It might have been the Budokan. I don't know. Anyway, this band was playing. I won't say who it was, but there was hardly anything that was real. It was all. It was silent movies.
And I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, if there's a reason why you can't do it, that's fine. And if you're using it like kind of as like a crutch, it's like, okay, I can't hit those notes that I've always been able to hit. Like behind me, I have Kiss behind me. Paul Stanley, obviously known for having vocal issues over the last few years. And more recently, John Bon Jovi has had that vocal surgery, and it's like he's still struggling to try to get back to doing it. Wow. And I worry about it in a way because all of these these bands that I grew up loving and everything. And the younger generation who find those, and if they go to see them and they hear all these stories about, oh, it's fake, they're not really singing, they're not really playing or whatever, I feel like that's damaging the legacy of these artists, and it's really sad. I mean, I'm glad that they're still doing it. I'm glad that these older, legacy bands are still out there doing it, and at least attempting to do it. But the music industry overall is changing. It's changed, and I'm worried that it's never going to come back to what it was. And I don't think it will, because everybody's trying to get that TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, any short form video that hits, and then their song keeps getting used and used and used. But instead of going and buying that record, these people are just streaming it, and it's not the same.
No, I mean, you're not specialized anymore. It was you go to see a performance because it's different, it's strong, whatever. But now anybody can do it. Get off Facebook, do your little thing, and do your song and whatever. Everybody wants to be famous, and it's I don't know. It's just like you go, how did that happen to this person or that person? Who the hell was listening to their music and thought that was good?
Right.
Because it's all the people I've seen on Facebook or whatever, they're very amateurish, but some people are really great. But now the whole world can be a professional singer, player, drummer, whatever, and it's not the same. It's no longer specialized. Everybody's doing it. It makes me wonder if we're going to get an audience at all. They're probably more on stage than there is in the audience, because everybody now is a fucking musician. Everybody you meet, and the people that come to our shows, they're bass players, drummers, singers, etc. But I mean, there is another part of the audience that's like just listeners, so to speak.
Right.
But now it's so fake. It is so fake. And the music right now, I can't even listen to it. I can't, because it's not there. There's no life. I want to hear that. I want to see somebody bleed from their neck when we're on stage. Yeah. Or, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's not there anymore. I had a kid tell me once, a few years ago, hey, we're on, I can't remember who I was with at the time. Might have been something I did with Michael Schenker, I'm not sure. But he came up to me and he said, "You're the real thing, aren't you?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're the real thing. You're the real rock and roll singer." I said, "Well, thank you. That's very, very nice." So because he was used to saying, I don't know, something not quite like what we do. Because Michael,
something that was made in an office or in a studio,
a computer.
Yeah,
it did on my computer. But Michael Schenker doesn't use any tracks. It's Michael Schenker playing his guitar, the singers doing their singing. Because we did a thing where it's 3 singers. From some of the albums that Michael made. I did some shows for a few months. It was pretty good. It was great, in fact. Michael's a great player, great songwriter, and you can't fake that shit. When the string breaks, oh fuck, it's real. When your throat goes, oh yeah, okay, sorry.
And that's amazing is when a guitarist, when they're soloing or whatever, and that you can see it on video, or if you're close enough live, you see that string pop and they just keep going. Like,
yeah, they do.
We gotta figure it out.
Tuning. Yeah.
Tune down or up, whichever.
Yeah. Like Michael has like a whole bunch behind the stack, there's always like 3 or 4 other guitars, substitutes, if something like that. But I've never seen a string actually. But okay. But hey, when I say like I can't listen to the music today, I feel like an old fucker, old fart. But it's true, the music is gone. Yeah. And so when we listen to music, sometimes in the car, it's usually stuff that was around in the 1980s or 90s or whatever.
Right. Which is, I've always said my cutoff is 1995.
Yeah.
That's, if I go back, if you look in my playlist or my records, especially, 1995 is my cutoff.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like everything that had been said already has been said, and now it's just a rehashing. Unless it's someone like yourself, you said you were working on a new record.
Yeah.
I will still buy that. If it's somebody that I know, that I respect, that I appreciate the artist, I'll still support them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
anything new is just, it's not.
it's fodder. It
Yeah.
will be forgotten tomorrow, you know. And I think, sort of blow my own trumpet here, but I think that what I've recorded over the years will be remembered, you know. With Rainbow, their music will go on forever, I think, be listened to, you know. I was very lucky to join that band. It changed my life completely.
Yeah.
Really did.
And
I
it's funny because I just happen to have that record right
No,
here.
yeah, Down to Earth. Yeah, that's we play a lot of stuff from Down to Earth, obviously.
It's
But
my favorite Rainbow record, and I know I'm gonna get, you know, hell for it from my viewers and everything, but
oh wow,
I love Dio. I love Ronnie James Dio.
yeah.
But that, to me, that sound on that album is,
It's magnificent.
it's so
That's
great.
Roger Glover. Roger Glover is a great producer, great bass player, and a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Really
And
comes
like
up
you
to-
mentioned, Cozy's phenomenal.
Oh man, you know, I remember when we did that album. Cozy left after we'd done the last show we did was in England, Monsters of Rock. And that night, he left because he got another gig coming up, which was he'd had enough of Rainbow. He just had enough of what it was or whatever. But he had another offer from, I can't remember if it was Jack Bruce or I can't remember who it was exactly. Because Cozy went into lots of different bands after the Rainbow thing. But you know, that night was just so special and it was fantastic. And to lose him was a reason I left the band. One of the reasons, because it wasn't the same anymore. That guy wasn't there. That friend of mine wasn't there. And you know, I could turn to him and we'd laugh about something. You know, when the audience can't see what we're doing, you know, he'd sort of doing something or other. And he was great, just a great drummer, great friend. Yeah, and that I don't know if that will ever happen again. Like you say, I think, is it going to get worse? Is it going to become more and more mechanical and people just going to the freaking disco? You know, which is a thing you notice when we've been playing. We play at some nice theatres in Liverpool or wherever in England. And when we came out one night, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. We had an audience of probably about 200 or 300 people, something like that. Let's say that. It wasn't huge. And we came out and there's this huge line around the block. I said, who the fuck's playing tonight after us? And it was for the fucking disco. And so these girls with their skimpy dresses on, and it's like 20 degrees outside, you know, and everybody's going in there, these young people, you know. And it was like, what the fuck? That is what is happening now.
Yeah.
They don't want to see live music or hear live.
It's a shame.
I know. We were lucky. I was very lucky to grow up in the era I did, you know, and so was, you know, everybody I work with is on my side about the music, how it was better in whatever year I can think of. But I love 1950s music and a lot of R&B and, you know, blues stuff that I listen to, and also opera, you know, opera singers. Like Mario Lanza is one of my favorite singers, as Bethany can probably tell you. Right, Bethany?
Absolutely.
Because I would sort of tune into Mario Lanza and go, fucking hell, I wish I could sing like that. But he was snubbed by the Operatic Society, you know, because he made movies, you know.
Yeah.
That was wrong. It's like a snobbish bullshit that people have about opera. You don't have to put a dicky bow on and a suit to go and listen to opera. You can just go the way you are, you know.
No. And it's great. It's great music. People don't appreciate it like they should.
Yeah. But I'm going on a bit too much about that. But it's but those kind of singers are Tom Jones, Pavarotti, you know, and you know, Mario Lanza. They're real singers.
Yeah.
You know? And that's how I try to be myself, even though I'm doing this kind of raucous, you know, sometimes stuff. You know, I can do that, but I don't necessarily like doing that.
Right.
I like to be powerful without using the falsetto, you know, all that stuff. You know what
And
I
you know
mean?
what's funny is we were talking about lineup before that album.
Yeah.
And I have to say this because I think it's the greatest pop song ever written or recorded, and you do a hell of a job on it. It's Be My Baby, the
Yeah,
Ronettes.
yeah.
That your version of it is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
And I'll toot your horn for you. But I wish more people, and I hope that's why I want to do this. That's why I do what I do, is I want to share with people because I have 3 teenage boys, and their friends watch my channel. They share with their friends, and
Yeah,
their friends find music through me.
yeah,
So whenever I'm listening to, like Line Up or whatever, or
yeah,
Rainbow, like my youngest son, he's 12,
yeah.
and when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and Since You've Been Gone was
Hey,
on
yeah,
that,
I know.
and he, Dad, that Rainbow song is on Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know.
So,
We were very surprised about that. We heard about it. And so
and then I looked at the track listing for the soundtrack, and I was like, "Holy shit, it is!"
and I wish I'd written that bloody song now.
I know. Get
Russ
that
wrote-
Disney
Russ
money.
wrote it, you know. And I tell you something, it started a new career for me, kind of thing. And Rainbow, when that came out, because Rainbow was suddenly like in the chart. It
Yeah,
was never in the chart before. I'd never heard of Rainbow when I joined them. But
Yeah.
Bruce Payne, the manager, said you've got to get some radio-friendly songs. And this one came in from Russ Ballard, and nobody wanted to do it.
great
No,
songwriter.
I'm not doing it. Yeah, Cozy was like, "Oh, fuck, you kidding me?" He didn't want to do it. So it was like the last track recorded, so to speak, because we didn't think it would go on the album, but it did, and it became a huge freaking hit.
Yeah.
Which is talking about Russ Ballard, and Be My Baby. We were recording some tracks for the lineup album one afternoon, and I was doing one of his songs. I think it was, oh God, I can't remember what it was actually, but he came in just to see what was happening. And he said to me, "You know that song, Be My Baby?" I said, "Yeah, what about it?" He said, "Well, I think you should do that." I said, "Well, maybe." He says, "Come with me, Graham." And he goes downstairs into the studio. He starts playing the piano, and he starts singing. "The night we met, I knew and I went, "Oh, yeah."
I like what you did there.
Together, and that afternoon, we recorded that freaking track. It was done within like an hour. It was done.
I love it.
He played piano, and I think who was there? Oh, I think Mickey Moody was there. I'm not sure. There was like half of the band there, and so it was done within an hour because I knew that song backwards, and so did Russ. And he said, "That's it, great, fucking hell, yeah."
Yeah. Now, was that kind of the thinking on that? Was that kind of maybe not so much like Marbles era, but more like, okay, well, I did Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow on my first solo record.
Yeah.
Is that kind of where his head was at maybe with that?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons I got the job in Rainbow was because of Only One Woman and Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? Those two tracks.
Because they used to play like Name That Tune kind of thing, right?
That's right. That's what happened. Yeah, you've heard the story. Cozy had some tapes with all different, songs on it, and then you say, "Who's that? And who's that? And who's that? Name that tune." And my song came up. My cousin and I sang the Only One Woman tune, and Rich. They were looking for a singer, and Richie said, "Where is that guy now?" And Roger Glover was working with one of my friends in London, Mickey Moody, and Whitesnake. And we got in touch with Roger Glover, and Roger Glover called me to say, "Would you come over and audition for Rainbow?" And I had no idea who Rainbow was, not a clue. And my manager said to me, "Well, you better go out and buy some albums of theirs and listen to what it is." And so I did that. I bought 3 albums, I seem to remember, and I put them on the turntable and listened to it. And I thought, I don't know. I don't think this is me. I don't sing like that. I don't. What is this music all about? It wasn't. I don't know. I just couldn't get used to it being sort of semi-classical or something. It felt like an uncomfortable area for me to be in, singing wise. I thought, well,
And very fantasy, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and they're talking about the man on the silver mountain and all that. I mean, what the fuck? Yeah, okay. Because I think about real things, not sort of fairy tales. Jack and the Beanstalk. You might as well be that. So, you know, I said, I don't, Jack on the Beanstalk, here he comes. It's the song that I said to my manager, so I went over there, I did the audition, I learned a song called Mistreated. And I learned the song, that one song from Rainbow. So Roger Glover said to me, could you learn this one song? Come over and just audition with that one song, Mistreated. So I went over there. I don't know if you know the story about this, I don't know. But I went over there to this chateau, and I, you know, learned this song as best I could. And I went into the room where we're going to do the rehearsal, the audition, and it's like all this stuff set up, Marshall amps and huge drum kit, the whole fucking thing. It was like going on stage. And they started playing the song. And I thought, oh shit, I thought I was going to screw up. So the microphone was there, but I didn't go on it. I thought, if I mess up, they're going to go, you know. So I sang off microphone and the whole thing. And after it was finished, they all looked at each other and started laughing. I thought, oh, that's it. Oh, I'll get my coat on, I'm leaving. That was it. I thought that was the end. And they were laughing. I said, what is it? What's up? And Don Airy said, Graham, we can hear you. I said, well, yeah, I'm singing.
Well, no shit, I'm loud.
We can hear you. Well, yeah, but you're not on microphone. And, you know, as I said, there's like all these amps and crashing drums, etc. I mean, it was loud, fucking loud. And so they said to me, I should say, can you do it again? I said, yeah, okay. So I did it again, not on mic. And then when we finished that second time around, Don Airy said to me, how about this time you go on microphone, Graham? We know it's good. And I said, thank you, Don. It's very kind of you to say that. You really want me to do it again? I said, yeah, go on. So I went on microphone. And then from the other rooms where we were staying, all these people came in because they could hear me singing. And they're all smiling because they knew I got the job, all the roadies and their girlfriends, etc. They're up on the balcony, I remember, and they're smiling away, going, yeah, this is the guy that apparently auditioned a lot of people before me. And I really didn't think I was the guy. I didn't, not at all, because of my past musical stuff,
Right.
It's all like more R&B and that kind of thing, pop, R&B, anything, just as long as it's not a good song, I never really put myself into a category being an R&B singer. Now I'm suddenly a metal singer, and I don't understand that either. So, but what the hell is that? Is it really somebody who sings really loud, or is it just the band being metal or something?
Is it loud? Is it the sustain? Is it the guitar? What actually?
And a bit of falsetto here and there. Yeah, the screaming.
I love a good falsetto.
Yeah, it's nothing like a good falsetto. Frankie Valli's not very well, is he? The Four Seasons.
He's not, no.
Yeah,
I was talking about my youngest son earlier, and I'm not trying to talk too much about him, but his favorite song of all time is Sherry.
Oh yeah,
that's his favorite song. I catch him listening to it all the time. I'm like, you are definitely my kid.
Girls, because it's my guitar. I know I'm my guitar at school, and some girls. We had a school concert, and these three girls wanted to do Sherry, and I said, "Yeah, okay." So I played it for them. I said, "Oh, you're not playing it very good." I said, "I'm bloody playing it great. What are you talking about?" Sherry, and all that. And they did it. And we did it on the concert, and then I had my own spot on the concert. And I
think you should add that to your new set because that sounded great.
There are some people who can do great falsetto. I can't.
Yeah.
I can do it, but I can't keep. Rob Halford's great at it.
Yeah.
I can't keep that level of falsettoing all the time because and Ian couldn't do it. But Ian sings more of a He doesn't sing falsetto so much, but Rob uses falsetto quite a lot, but not all the time. But he does it a lot better than I do. I can't keep it up. Sing the words with like a lady's voice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But no, not a lady's voice, but falsetto. Frankie Valli.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, Frankie Valli was the best, and I couldn't understand why the Four Seasons sounded so different from everybody else. And I remember my brother went to a place in Boston, Lincolnshire, the original Boston, a place called the Boston Glidodrome. And he went to see the Four Seasons. And he after the concert, my brother said to me, "You can't hear." I couldn't hear him. And I said, "Well, I think I know why, because his voice is double tracked on the records. And it's up to the microphone, like, Jerry, you know, it's close to the microphone. And when you're on stage, you don't necessarily the microphone.
Right.
And
hold it out when you hit those notes.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have mic technique, you know, here I do this and that. But I mean, with certain songs, you know, you have to be like eating the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't hear him, you know. And he said the band was great, but the song, I just couldn't hear him singing. And I knew why. But I didn't want to break his heart. Well, but Tony was, you know, he got me into rock and roll music because he's my elder brother. Bless his heart. I miss him. And he died a few years ago. But Tony was like the original rocker kid in my hometown, you know, the hair and the whole thing. I wanted to look like him. That was my thing. And he brought me in. I remember he used to bring home Buddy Holly songs and Fats Domino and Little Richard, who's one of my favorites. You know, and he really introduced me to rock and roll. Because in the 50s, on the radio, there was a lot of Perry Como and a lot of opera as well, or, you know, really kind of club songs, you know, She Gets Too Hungry, you know, all that stuff. You know, Frank Sinatra and everything. And I couldn't get into that, you know. So he brought these records home and played them, and I go, ooh, that's great. I remember the Buddy Holly song he brought home was, you know, every day, yes, again. And I never knew for years, what is that clicking sound? And it's actually the drummer just doing that on his jeans. And Buddy said, you know, he says, well, shall I do the drums now? And I said, no, do that.
Just keep it with that, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a pair of Levi's and a hand.
That's like the Elvis 68 comeback special when they're just drumming on the guitar case.
Exactly.
That sound. It's something about that sound. And that's still, I mean, that special still, I mean, is amazing.
It's a snare drum that has no snare or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a trick that Elvis did very well, you know.
Yeah.
But I thought that was fantastic. And then just near the end of Every Day, you know, it just love like yours will surely come my way. Yeah, one skip just near the end of the song somewhere. And if you listen very carefully, there's a cricket on there too. That's where the name came from.
Which makes sense. Yep.
As I said, we're doing this, getting the music together, and I got some more stuff to play to Conrad. And, you know, I want to have an album that's as good as Day Out of Nowhere.
It's so great. It's my background for this video.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. It sounds so fucking good. I mean, everything sounds fresh and new and different. It's not like anything you would expect from a so-called hard rock band, whatever.
Right.
But it is powerful, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Screamy and silly. You know?
Right. And I feel like I'm constantly just gonna kiss your ass because you're one of my favorite singers. So I'll go ahead and we'll move on to that, and then I'll kind of come back and I can piece it together, whatever I need to do.
Okay.
But the video for Imposter is fucking awesome. I love the concept of it. The song itself is great. Yeah. You know, the kind of the man in the mirror thing. Am I who I'm supposed to be? Kind of. Is that song? Is that a double meaning? Like, is it to yourself? Like, did I do everything the way I should have done, or is it like also like kind of like mortality thing? Like, as you've aged, you've seen. Yeah. Is that? Am I getting it right? Yeah, it's kind of a bit of both, but mainly it's like when you look in the mirror and go, "Who the fuck is that?" You know, because I'm starting to look like I look like my dad now. Not that there's anything wrong with that, you know. But suddenly, because I'm older, I go, "Holy crap!" I see what I don't feel like. You know, everyone says, you know, I feel 16 or whatever, and I'm 92 or whatever they may be. But that's the way it goes. It's kind of weird, but I think what keeps me kind of alive, young-ish, is the music. I think it takes a lot
lot of bollocks to go out there on stage and sing some of the songs, because some nights you go, oh, fucking hell, I don't want to do this. Some nights you're tired. And that's when your voice at the end of the show gets a bit croaky or whatever. But I mean, that's human. Then people understand that. They don't give a crap if you get croaky. They know why, because the show is an hour and a half long, you know, and it's all, you know, it's all up front. It's, you know, it doesn't relax. So there's a couple of songs we do that are sort of laid back, but that's about it.
Do you still do Only One Woman with just you and the acoustic still?
No, we did it with the band.
You do it
with the whole band. But I think in Australia, I think I just had an acoustic.
That's what it was. I saw that video. I was like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the song is great. You know.
Yeah.
Barry came up with that song one afternoon, and my cousin and I went into the studio IBC in London, and Barry had this melody, and he took out his guitar and strummed it to us. And my cousin suggested changing the melody. Trevor, my cousin Trevor's unfortunately died a few years ago. I have his guitar here.
Les Paul, right? A Les Paul.
Yeah. How do you know that?
I watched interviews to prepare. I don't want to ask too much of what everybody else has already asked you over the years.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah, I don't have to think too much. Yeah. So it was the melody that Barry had was da 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 da, and then repeat that the same. And Trevor said, I think Graham should go up there. And so instead of going da 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 da, you should go da 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 da. You should go up there and change the melody. And that became a C sharp, which is the actual note. And I said, thank you, Trevor. Now forever I'm going to have to sing fucking C sharps and Ds or whatever forever. Which is absolutely true, you know. Oh, why aren't you going high? Well, I can, but I don't want to, you know. No, I mean, there's lots of, I still do the same kind of range that I had back then, you know. But it's, you know, after a while you go, well, in fact, the song I'm making up now, there's a C in there, which is just below the highest note. High D is my strongest high note, I think. But, you know, top C is still pretty, you know, up there, powerful. But it's, yeah, I'm lucky to have the voice still, you know. And I sound so fucking full of myself, don't I?
No.
I'm lucky. It's just pure fucking fluke.
I'm the same way. I'm full of myself all the time. So
yeah, well, we have to be.
Yes.
Nobody loves me but me, you know, as much as I.
That's right.
Does anybody else love me? No, bugger off. You know?
Yeah, I was I did an Elvis tribute like 20 years ago, and I did it for probably 10 years. And I just got bored with it because I was like, yeah, but they're only coming to see me because I'm dressing up and singing like Elvis.
Yeah. Oh, really?
So that's why I quit doing that. But that's how I found Mario Lanza, was through, because Elvis was such a fan of his. So that's how I like finding new music that way on my own. I don't want anybody around me to tell me, hey, go listen to this. No, I'll find it. And that's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I knew you obviously, but like the different albums, the solo albums that, you know, it's not Rainbow, it's not Michael Schenker, it's not Alcatrazz,
right? Which
I do want to talk about this album.
All right, okay.
But
okay.
Impellitteri, all that stuff, you know. That's why I kept bringing up Lineup, is that God damn, that record is so good.
Lineup is one of my favorites too. Yeah, it really is.
And I love the cover because it's almost like a kind of like a tribute to Rainbow in a way, with that in the background, and then all the different pictures of you, and then the one in the bottom where you're smoking.
And you know, when I did some of the photographs years ago for my own solo stuff, the photographer says, "We put a cigarette in your mouth," and I don't smoke. So, well, put it in your mouth and have it hanging there, you know. And I said, do I have to light it? He said, no, don't worry about it. So
yeah, it was kind of like the gimmick with the whole, you know, greaser look you had back then, you know?
Yeah, rocker thing. Yeah. And
I love that about you is, you know, I know you've talked about it a million times, but, you know, they wanted you to grow your hair out in Rainbow, and you just kind of stuck stuck to your guns, and that's your style.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
How does that affect how you sing? It
yeah,
doesn't.
it fucking doesn't. That's what Cozy was really pissed off, because it was Richie really that didn't, like the way I looked. It wasn't anybody else.
Yeah.
Cozy was fine with it. Roger was fine, and Dom was fine. It was no big deal to them. So what the fuck? Because one day, you might have heard this story too. One day I had my hair cut in Sheffield or somewhere, and I went on stage, and my hair was all shorter than it is now. And I'd been out in the afternoon, and I got a haircut because there was a hairdresser nearby. Because I've been on the road for a while, my hair was getting long like it is now at the back. And so I decided to get a haircut. So I had it cut really short because it's more comfortable. Went on stage. Richie looked across at me and gasped and disappeared behind the stack, his Marshall stack. And he was behind there all bloody night. And then we were going, what the fuck is going on? He came back but sort of in the shadows. He didn't want to get anywhere near me. And so there was a meeting called next day to go to Richie's room. So we all went to Richie's room, and I was going, what's wrong? What's happened? What? And Richie says, it's Graham's hair. So everybody broke up. They knew what he was thinking. He thought I was having to go at him because he was always saying, you should have your hair a bit longer or whatever. He thought I was doing this on purpose to annoy him. It wasn't that at all. Not at all. I never do that.
It just didn't feel comfortable to you.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things. It was just like, I comb my hair back all the time. When my hair was really long, I used to always be doing this. And I thought, what's the fuck? Because my hair was down to below my shoulders. I was real hippie looking. And I kept doing that in the studio. And my first wife at the time, oh God, how many wives have you had? Going, oh, no. Coming number 9. So it was like, she said, well, why don't you just cut your hair? So it got shorter and shorter and shorter until it got to here. And she said, yeah, you can see your face now, blah, 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 So I kept it like that. And that's the end of my story. I've forgotten where I was going with that, but anyway.
That's all right. We can move on.
Okay, yes, I think that's a good idea.
After lineup.
Album 1, yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember that.
Tell me anything you remember about putting these songs together, because after Michael Schenker kind of gave you more confidence into becoming not just an arranger or coming up with a melody, he kind of gave you that confidence, it feels like, that you needed to become a songwriter. Yeah.
Well, really, Michael was the first time I really sort of written melodies and lyrics because I had to. There was nobody else to do it. Michael said, I can't do it because I don't speak English very well. And so I said, yeah, it's all right, Michael. I'll do what I can. And I remember I was staying at Roger Glover's house with the Michael Schenker's drum tech. He was there. Roger stood up with his wife. So I went to this nice house, beautiful. And I was stood out by the pool or something. And I started writing the first song, which was, I think it was a song called Desert Song. We're sailing ships across. And I was making this thing up. I thought, it's just too corny. But when I sang it, they thought it was great. And so I thought, ooh, I'm a songwriter, And I didn't have the confidence. I thought I was crap, because my cousin Trevor, when we were in the Marbles, he wrote all these songs which were great and nice, beautiful chords and stuff. And I thought, I can never do what he does. And so if Trevor wrote a tune, I would sing it with him, And Barry, when Barry did wrote something, or Robin, I would do their songs because I felt like their songs are real, but mine sounded like amateurish and not very good, But after that, when I'd done the thing with Michael, I remember realizing that I can do this. I can write songs. I'm not that as stupid as I thought I was, because I thought it's so hard to write with lyrics. Because I remember Roger, when I was in Rainbow, Roger wrote all the words for Rainbow. And I went to Roger's room sort of every day to listen to where we got with the tracks as they were going down. And he said, well, I'm doing this song now, and I'm not quite sure what to write here. I said, well, I don't know, Roger. I don't know. I don't write words, at all for this kind of music. I mean, I've probably written words for songs I made up at home or
Right.
with the models and whatever, but not this kind of so-called heavy rock music. And he said, "Oh, that's surprising." So he would give me a rough idea about how the melody should go, and I would, embellish on what Roger would give me. That's got nothing to do with Alcatrazz, I know. But yeah, I mean, I found confidence in writing with Michael Schenker because I realized I can write words. Someone might be a bit silly, but I can do it. It's not that hard. And melodies, because he didn't have any melodies either, so it's up to me to do that. So that's what happened when we did the first album. The first Alcatrazz album was, to me, it was like a taster of what is to be, because I thought, well, we've got to have a band that sounds kind of like Rainbow and have those kind of melodies and whatever. And when we found Yngwie Malmsteen, it was like, oh, crap, this is it. This guy was so good. Couldn't believe it, how great he was. So me and Yngwie got together at first at my house, and then when we went into a studio, me and him would write stuff together. And I would, it was great. He was just an incredible player and very inventive, with his arrangements for songs. So that was really when I got down to writing stories about whatever. Hiroshima,
Yeah.
That's
I was going to ask you about Hiroshima Mon Amour. Like, where did that come from?
Well, when I was at school, I saw a movie called Hiroshima Mon Amour, a black and white movie. I was in the film society at school. And the guy that ran the film society said, "Tonight I'm going to show you a film that's very moving, blah, blah. It's called Hiroshima Mon Amour." And this title came to my head, and I thought, oh, can I do this? Because we're playing Japan. I somehow sort of related that to Japan. Well, obviously, and Alcatrazz live in Japan. Yes, yeah. Because of playing with Rainbow in Japan, I thought, well, Hiroshima Mon Amour, what a great title that is. And then I sort of studied what exactly happened in Hiroshima and et cetera, et cetera. And I found out what the bomb was called, what it was. And it's C7H5O6N3. And that's part of the lyric. And it was called Little Boy. Oh, yeah. And Bethany said, I don't know, how did you get that formula into a song?
I just didn't notice it for the longest time.
I know.
And when I was learning the song, I said, did you put a chemical formula?
It's a chemical formula.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite songs because, well, you couldn't imagine when we played it in Japan, people were just like, it's been covered by some Japanese bands as well. Yeah, and they do great versions of that song.
I've always been enamored with the idea of Japan and how, Western music is recepted over. I mean, it's received so well compared to like some other places. Like, what doesn't work in the U.S. can work in Japan.
Right.
What works in the U.S. might not work there. It's all like the geographic thing. Music affects people different ways.
You got to find your territory, and then when you found it, which is Japan for us, great, the Graham Bonnet outfit.
Yeah.
It's when you got the first time I went there, it was like Beatle time. It was incredible. And the first time we went with Alcatrazz, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
People coming out of the woodwork, calling out your names, Yngwie, Graham, etc. Not so much the other guys, just me and Yngwie. Well, the other guys aren't important, No, but it was a great time. But I didn't expect it because we got a gold album when we went to Japan, and it was Alcatrazz gold album. It's like, oh my god, that's fantastic.
Well, and you have a history like so many great singers. Like you always manage to either find a new guitarist and break a new guitarist, or work with someone who's might already be established but equally great. I mean, Ritchie Blackmore, Yngwie. Then coming up after the first Alcatrazz and the live album, you got hooked up with Steve Vai after Yngwie was whatever the story is.
Yeah,
but
well, I think in a way it's sort of because Yngwie was in the band with me, and he went on to his own thing. But I think because of that, a lot of people will listen. A lot of good guitar players will listen, and they thought, well, I can do that. I can do better than that, you know. And Steve came along because he was on the second album. He was working with Frank Zappa. He just left the band, and he was looking for a job, so to speak. And he loved Alcatrazz, and which was great, you know. And he said, I love your voice, Graham, blah, 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 blah. And so me and him started writing songs almost immediately. And he just has a different way of playing and thinking about arrangements for songs. He was very inspiring toward me, you know. It's like, oh my God, I like what you're doing there. I can do something really good there, vocally, whatever. Because he wasn't thinking like, oh, here comes the chorus, here comes the and now the verse, and now the middle bit. You know, he was sort of like, instead of going straight ahead, make a right turn or a left turn. And so he had all these different parts to songs, which was great for me because I have different melodies, different chords, etc. He was a very interesting arranger. You know? Yeah. We had me and him had great times recording the vocals because I would spend my time with him in one studio in Cherokee. We had another room. Me and Steve used to go in, while the band did in a larger room, all other stuff. So you know, it was something that I really appreciated from someone like Steve because he's very, very musical and fucking great player. You know,
absolutely. You worked with some pretty top tier producers. You worked with Martin Birch, obviously, and then on Disturbing the Peace, you worked with Eddie Kramer, who I'm a big fan of his work. I mean, Kiss, obviously behind me, Hendrix, you know, everything.
Yeah.
So,
he worked with Jimi Hendrix, and that was a bonus. You know, he always worked with Jimi Hendrix. He must be good. You know, so he came along, you know, and we made a great album, no doubt. And I've been lucky. So probably a bit spoiled, you know, by all these people that like what I do, not just the music of the band, but they like me as a songwriter singer, you know, which is very flattering and very, because makes my head grow like this every day. Oh, how did you? What's that story all about? You know. Yeah. Well, I love that story on that one. Oh, yeah. So you know, I'm a reporter basically. I talk about real life and you know, talk about
storyteller.
Whatever. Yeah.
Storyteller. And actually, Disturbing the Peace just celebrated its 40th anniversary day before yesterday.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody had posted it on Instagram, and I was like, that's funny. I'm talking to Graham Bonnet in a couple of days.
God, 40.
So that just kind of worked out kind of well.
Life begins at 40, you know. Life begins at 40. Yeah, God, really that man.
Isn't that wild?
Back a long freaking way.
Yeah.
You know? It was some of the times were good. I spent with Yngwie, you know, and putting those songs together. Yeah. But you know, it turned to violence in the end, and Yngwie left. And
you know,
hey, we did. I don't want to go there. I mean,
don't. Yeah, don't.
But I knew that one day he would leave. He didn't like the band particularly. The other guys.
He's his own type of being for sure.
Yeah, which is okay. You know, he did incredibly well. Mm-hmm. While Alcatrazz went down the shitter, Yngwie went into the fucking atmosphere.
It's crazy what he. I mean, that album is fantastic, and the live record. You know, I know you get asked about Since You've Been Gone all the time, but the version on the live Sentence album is holy shit. It's so good.
I believe you. I don't. Do you know I can never listen to live stuff? I go, oh.
Really? See, I love live albums.
Everybody does, though. I just can't listen to it. I can listen to it years later.
I get it. But I like that you do certain different things, like especially with that song. You don't know what you mean to me. That inflection, you go up like that, and you didn't do that on the Rainbow version. So just something a little different on a song, you know. Sometimes you're like, ooh, that piques my interest.
I mean, we still do it, and I probably sing the same melody now.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you still do it the same way.
But it's that happens. You know, I tend to sort of sing some of the songs differently every night, a little bit.
And I'll never do that again. I'll never sing your songs at you like that again.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened.
Impellitteri.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about Impellitteri and Chris in general?
Oh, that was when the Traz split up, when Alcatrazz split up, he of course knew about it, and he followed the band, and he called me up, and I had this call from him, and he said, "Hi, this is Chris." And Chris, what? What's your second name? He said, Impellitteri. Oh,
Very Italian.
yeah. I said, okay.
It ends in a vowel.
Yeah, Impellitteri, thank you. It was like, God, what kind of name is that? He called me up and he said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to move to Australia. It was a time when I was going to move because I had nothing to do. Alcatrazz was done. And my ex-wife said, well, we've got to do something. So we moved to Australia. We were there for 3 years. But he called up and he said, I'm doing an album and I would like to write songs with you, Graham. So I stayed behind while my family went to Australia, to Adelaide, where my ex-wife was from. And I stayed at Chris's house for a while and started writing songs with him. And then did the album, which I think is pretty good. It didn't turn out too bad. I like a couple of songs on that, but
yeah,
it was just a rotten time. For me personally, it was just like,
right.
Oh, I want to go home, you know.
Yeah. It's got a very, very heavy sound to it, and your voice on that, you're hitting those notes where it's a little different.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's just listening to it back over the last couple of weeks, I was like, holy shit. Like, I mean, you've got a big voice, but I don't think I remember you ever hitting those notes where I was just like kind of taken back.
Tonight I Fly.
Yeah.
Well, there's that where it goes right up. I sang a different melody, and Chris, he said to me, he was in the control room, and he said to me, well, Graham, instead of just going, whatever the melody I had, he said, why don't you go high? I said, it's a fucking high G. I got my guitar. I said, no, that's way above top C. And I said, I can't do that. You know, he said, well, just give it a go. So, okay. So I tried it and I hit it. And I thought, bloody hell. I said, I can't do that again. He said, well, we're going to record it this time. We didn't get you that time. Let's do it again. So I did it again and I hit it again. And I said, put that note in the rest of the fucking choruses. I can't do it again. I said, it's ridiculous. High G above C in full voice.
Yeah, no thank you.
It's falsetto voice. Yeah. So, so that was the way that happened. And I said to him, Chris, just, take that freaking chorus and plonk it in the other part of the song, that at least that one line.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Because I couldn't do it again. I'm strangling myself out there,
That was a one-shot deal. Just reuse it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but it's just like, oh God.
It's just tough. It's tough on your voice.
It's just
and then after that, you did some more solo stuff. You had a couple of reunions here and there, and then and then your lovely significant other came into your life, and Graham Bonnet Band was born. Yeah. And you've put out the book. Meanwhile, Back in the Garage, you've put out Day Out in Nowhere, which came out 23.
Was that? Was 23? Yeah.
23. And then now you're working on a new one. I mean, and if she wants to join for the last little bit here, I'm more than welcome to have her part of it, because she's a part of the band. How hard is it to keep him wrangled in?
Oh my God.
As far as in the studio and on tour and all that stuff.
He's like a whirling dervish. It's like having, it's not, I don't want to say a toddler. That sounds condescending, but the energy of a toddler in an adult man's body. I can't keep up with him. Yeah. No, but he's funny. That's the thing.
Yeah. Very charming. Definitely a lead singer, you can tell.
Yeah. he gets away with it.
Okay. Well, yeah, when in doubt, tell a joke. You know what I mean?
But I know when and where I need to actually put my foot down, and I do. I will exercise the foot periodically.
Seems like she's kind of what's re-triggered your fire to keep going, and I just wanted to thank her on as a fan, for this last album and the future, because as a fan, I appreciate it, and I'm sure your other fans appreciate her as well. And I wanted to give her due.
Woo!
Yeah.
When we first met, he reached out to me, and I knew virtually nothing about him. I knew nothing about his musical history other than, Since You've Been Gone and All Night Long. I didn't know anything about Michael Schenker, Alcatrazz, nothing. It was a whole different genre that I'd worked in, and I didn't know. And so we started talking, and initially it was about music, but then in one email I said, it's difficult for me. I'm a single mom with special needs kids. And he wrote back and said, I have an adult son with autism. And I was like, oh, I want to hear about that. And so we moved away from music and really just became friends, talking about our children and whatever. And I mean, I adored him from the beginning, but I had no intention of ever dating another musician. But it took him about a year, but then here we are.
You had time to form that bond before you're like, okay, let's go out and do this.
Yeah. Well, I just gotten divorced. In fact, we went to Vegas and we were joking around. We were like, yeah, you know what? Let's get an Elvis impersonator. We'll get married, but it won't be legal because
It wasn't me. It was not me.
But I'm glad we didn't do it, because when I came home from that trip, my divorce decree was in the mailbox, so it would have been legal. Not that there's anything wrong with you.
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
We talk about marriage. We talk about it.
Yeah. You two have been together since the first little bit was 16, right? 2016?
No, much earlier.
Was it that far back?
I think we met in 2012 or 13.
Okay. Well, I mean the band part.
Yeah.
I mean, I had been playing in another band with Conrad, and I brought him on board
Right.
almost immediately. So I'd say by the end of 2013, the three of us were solidly in the Graham Bonnet band and moving towards.
You had the plan, the blueprint of the Graham Bonnet band.
Yeah. Well, originally he had this friend Mario who wanted to do a 3-piece acoustic thing. And we realized really quickly that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear Since You've Been Gone acoustically. So we, and I don't mind. I mean, I'm a rocker from way back. I had gotten married and had kids and hadn't pursued a career as a musician for quite a while. And then when we hooked up, we're like, yeah, see if we can make this work. And, I've had to suffer the slings and arrows of some barbs here or there. Like I had a guy say, I can't believe this guy said this to me. We had a meet and greet after a show in Detroit. And it was a guy who was, friendly with me on social media. I knew exactly who I was talking to. And he was with his wife, and we had a lovely little chat. And as he was walking away, he says to his wife, see what money will get you? And I'm like, oh my God, how could you turn me into 40 seconds, Yeah.
What an insult.
Yeah.
Who has the balls to say something like that?
He's lucky he still has them. I was pissed.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. No, but he really kind of nailed all of us with that one insult. You know what I mean? It was insulting to Graham to think that would be his only value to me.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty.
That I'm for sale, Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him. You are writing songs for the new album.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
How many do you have so far? Is there anything you can tell us? Maybe a song title, anything like that that you have kicking around?
None of them. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Rory, I can tell that one.
Yeah. Do you have a working title yet?
Yes. Yeah. There's one song I've written that I haven't played to Conrad yet. It's called A Song for Rory. It was my friend Rory Gallagher, guitar player. We were managed by the same people when I lived in London. And Rory was a great friend. So, I went to a lot of his concerts, obviously. And his brother, Donald. And well, back then, nobody saw what he had, the talent he had. And because we were managed by the same people, I saw him quite a lot. And I heard all his albums. And I thought, well, why is everybody's talking about Jimi Hendrix, you know? But I think the song's called, No One Ever Sang for Rory. I think that's the
yeah, I like that.
because nobody was giving him praise. And the story goes that Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, somebody called out to him and said, "Hey, Jimmy, how's it feel to be the greatest guitar player in the world?" He said, "Ask Rory Gallagher."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
That's
Rory
great.
Gallagher was so entertaining, funny, good singer, but an amazing guitar player and just different, completely different to Jimi Hendrix, you know. But what a player. You know, that one bashed up guitar he used to use every night. old Stratocaster. And it was really bashed up, not like the fake bashed up guitar you get now.
Right. Yeah. It's like jeans with rips already in them, you know? It's
Yeah, I
like-
mean, it's so silly all that, isn't it?
yeah.
And yeah, that's one song. No one ever sang for Rory, or it would just be called for Rory, possibly. And now this one, I don't know what this is going to be. Hang on, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I made up a song about Chuck Berry too. Now whether I do that or not, hey?
I love that one.
Oh yeah, it's because somebody used to work for Chuck. This guy used to work. I based the song around an actual event, you know, because he was playing at the Hammersmith Odeon. So the opening line is the Hammersmith Odeon, something, and this guy was, you know, his guitar tech, whatever, and stage manager or something or other. And this guy, one afternoon, he was alone. Chuck Berry wasn't there. He'd gone out to the pub or something, but he'd gone out for a couple of hours. And this guy was there, and he was on stage with Chuck Berry's guitar just sitting in a guitar stand, you know, and he was actually the guitar tech as well. So he's looking at this guitar going, "Oh, yeah, I know what I'll do." He got the tuner out, you know, the electronic thingy. And he said, I'll tune it for Chuck. I'll get it just perfect. So he tuned it to like unbelievable tuningness. It was absolutely perfect. And Chuckles, he came back and he picked his guitar up because we were going to do a sound check or something. And he said, "Huh, who's been fucking around with my guitar?" And this kid goes, "Yeah, I tuned it. I tuned it, Mr. Berry. I tuned it for you." He says, "No." So he got hold of the guitar, Chuck, and he goes, he bangs the bottom of the guitar on the stage, played it. That's Chuck Berry.
Yep.
Because the guitar was slightly out of tune. Because the guitar was never perfectly in tune. And to have it perfectly in tune, it made it too nice. You know, Johnny B. Good would never sound the same with a sweet guitar. It's got to be that double string, you know, slightly out of tune, you know. And that's
a little clanky.
Yeah, that's the Chuck Berry sound.
Yeah.
And do you know that he played in a key that no guitar player ever uses? It's like E flat, not E, the big chord, the big E. It was E flat. So you see him bar this chord. When you see a photograph of Chuck Berry, he's barring the chord, and he played that do-do-do-do-do with his little finger, which is hard to do because most people play it in the F shape, and they play it like a white man, so to speak, you know. But Chuck played it that way, so it has sort of a banjo sound, but at the same time, really good sound, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Clapton will talk about it forever. You know how you can't play a Chuck Berry solo and play it on one string. It doesn't work. It can't be double string.
Yep.
And so he said, "Oh no, you know, that's Chuck Berry." And so I wrote this about him because that was Chuck Berry. That's what he did. He never tuned his guitar that much, and that red guitar was buried with him. His red Gibson. I can't remember the serial number. 3 something.
ES335.
ES3. Ah, yeah, ES3 35. Yeah, and that's buried with Chuck Berry, and how wonderful! What a great writer that guy is. Was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was,
Covered by everybody the world over.
Yeah, the poetry, his words are fucking fantastic. They roll off the tongue, you know. Riding along in my automobile, you know, it's just everything, you know. Been to Yokohama, been fighting in the war, on the army chow, army car. You know, that's just like, oh yeah, you know. And we used to play that Too Much Monkey Business, and the faster you played it, the more difficult it was to sing. Well, you know, but I mean, he's one of my heroes, and John Lennon he copied the way he wrote songs, story songs, you know, that they were.
Yeah.
Down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, back up in the woods among the other, you know, Johnny Be Good. It's a story. It's not, you know, whatever. It's not silly. It's real. Thank you, Chuck.
Indeed.
No, I love listening.
And now it's time for a song. No, it's time for more laundry. Okay, yeah.
I'm going to let you get out of here, but one more time, I want to promote the show next month, Saturday, March 29th, The Mint in LA with Marco Mendoza.
Yeah, what a guy. He's a great
I saw him in 2000. He was playing with Ted Nugent, and he was fantastic.
Right. Yeah, he's great. He's really, really good.
He's amazing. Good
friend of ours. He's not just a great singer, player. He's just a good guy.
Yeah.
I really like him a lot, and it's I love to play the world with that guy. It's just incredible. It really is.
And I thank you for your time, because this, like I told you before, you're one of my favorite singers ever, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. I honestly mean that. And I can't wait for my copy of Lineup to get here so I can blast it, because I love that record. It's literally like one of my favorite records this year that didn't come out this year.
Well,
which is weird, but that's the great part about music, is you can find it if you look for it. And that's, like we talked about earlier, that's a lot of the problem today, is people aren't looking for that.
Right.
Find an album that speaks to you and listen to the whole album. Don't just listen to a clip on TikTok.
Right.
As fun as that is.
Okay.
But thank you both for joining me.
Great, man.
I'm glad you're feeling a bit better, and I look forward to the new album when it comes out. I will definitely talk about it.
As I said, I'm in the process right now. My notebook's over there. I've been listening to the track we put down yesterday. I'm going, oh, what can I do here? I'm trying to think of a story, as I said, probably about the fire. But I don't know if that's the right thing to do for a ballad. I don't know. It'll
come to you.
Might be sort of weird, but maybe all right. You know. It takes a while. The words are probably the hardest thing to, write, because I have to really think about it. You know, I don't want it to rhyme. I don't like rhymes too much. I do use rhymes, but I like it to tell the story without going da 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 b da 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 b. You know, at the end of every line rhymes. But once in a while, it happens just kind of naturally. But
a subtle rhyme is good, but yeah, it can be overdone for sure.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so it's like, like Chuck Berry's words. It's fucking amazing. They don't rhyme, but they sound like they do. And that's the trick. And I follow him, and also the Beach Boys. Brian Wilson, his lyricist. I've forgotten his fucking name, but anyway, the Beach Boys are another one of my favorite bands. I love them for the harmony in those later albums they did. Surfs Up and Pet Sounds. My God, that's just incredible. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, that's another thing. And then I'm gonna let you go, because I feel bad because I kept you way longer than I initially intended. Harmonies aren't what they used to be, and harmony is so important in music, and it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. That's why I like doing it. I love harmony. Yeah.
He's so good. Again, the Munchkins, if you listen, there's always the Munchkins somewhere on the record.
Yeah.
Amazing harmonies.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
I really am honored to have spoken to you. And I look forward to the new album again, and hopefully I'll see you on the road sometime.
All right. Yeah, that'll be good.